Well, that turned out to be quite an interesting hunt after all. I'd say for not taking home anything, that was probably second best hunt ever. I would have probably put it to the first, but last weekend was awesome. And this beginning half was pretty rough. Rain, wind, cold. Really didn't see anything. Spooked a couple of deer on my way in. One was out in the field on my right, which would be to the south, so they definitely got my wind. And then the other one was to my left, and that one ended up going north where I wasn't hunting today. And I came down the trees, I got set up. I didn't see anything. Sat in there from 6 all the way till about 9:30, I think. Didn't see anything, didn't even really hear anything. It was pretty blustery and rainy. I got soaked. Through and through, I got soaked. Sat there throughout there. I did get kind of startled because 5 yards away from my position was another large deer. Comes out of the bush right behind me. So yeah, 5 yards away from me there was this bigger tree, and about 6 feet up from the tree, I'm sitting there and I thought I heard something, and then all of a sudden this boom, this squirrel head just pops out right at like head level with me. Startled me a bit. Thought about putting a small game head on and filling my squirrel tag. But I didn't. I used restraint. Plus I didn't want to clean a squirrel today, I guess. A lot of squirrels out today though, big ones. They're fed well out here in the trees, which is kind of shocking. So anyway, I decided to kind of stalk in into the trees there and do some stalk hunting using the cover of the wind and the rain, because it was still kind of raining. Leaves were all wet, so super silent. Managed to get halfway through the timber, and that took me probably a good 2 hours to get halfway through the timber. Very quiet. And then all of a sudden, up at the top of the ridge, I start seeing a deer body just cruising along. And I was going to check it out with my binoculars, but it was closing in fast. And so it was coming over this way, and my wind was coming straight back behind me. And so I realized, wow, that thing's got a pretty good rack on it. So it was a good sized buck, and he kept coming. So I was getting set up. You know, I got my arm out there, because it's kind of what you got to do with a traditional bow. Get the arm out there, start trying to point it in the direction of him. Well, he stops, and he's kind of like looking at me and doing his little bobbing thing, and I'm looking, and it's a 10-point buck. I mean, a beautiful classic Iowa buck, and he's about 30 yards away, and I was hoping he'd come down the trail, because I was like right by the trail, but he knew I was there, and so smartly enough, he started going back because he wanted to get downwind of me to figure out what I am. So I was kind of determining. I wasn't exactly sure where my wind was at there in that particular spot. So I got a little anxious, we'll say. And so he kept coming through, and there was a couple of trees, and I was waiting until he passed those trees. And the problem is my brain did not tell me to pivot my body. because I need to be, you know, in alignment with what I'm going to shoot at. Well, he kind of comes over and a little bit more towards here and stops full broadside 20 yards away. I didn't realize it was 20 at the time. I thought it was a little far, but I was willing to give it a go. And then I gauged it after. Stops full broadside. He's looking. I draw back. I don't have proper alignment. So I'm kind of over the camera there. I'm kind of like this way, too much this way, not straight on. My shoulder wasn't pointed at him. And so I was pulling all the weight of my traditional bow because I wasn't in full alignment. And so I had to reset because he just needed to, I just didn't have it right. So I brought it down real slow, and I was kind of getting my shoulder in line so that I could draw up. Because the other thing was, I wasn't at full draw, so who knows what the arrow is going to do. And if you're not at full draw with a traditional bow, you got to have it to be able to know what you're getting at. So I draw back and or try to redraw back again. He kind of does his snort, wheezes a couple times at me, and then kind of trots off out of range. He didn't know what I was. He did not bail fast. He just kind of like, I don't know what you are. I don't like it. And he just kind of moseyed on out. That was the closest one yet. Shaking like a leaf after that one. Ended up going through the rest of the timber and didn't see anything else. So that concludes my second traditional bow hunt in the rut of 2022. Final recap. Started out really crappy. Rain, just nasty cold, windy from a north wind. Wind ended up coming out of the west, and somewhere around noon after the encounter with that buck, the sky cleared up, sun came out, and it started to warm up. So I am going to get out of here, but I'm going to have to strip out of some of these layers before I hike out because it's going to be warm. Anyway, another day. Strip out of all this stuff. It's warmed up. I didn't pee myself, I promise. Oh, that buck encounter was awesome, but I did not pee myself. Apparently the water came through there. Oh, I bet it leaked through the zipper when the water was getting down there, but it sure looks like it's dedication. I pee in place. Dedication. No, I didn't do that.